Hello, Mr. Consul General. Thank you for welcoming us to the Consul General of the United States of America in Thessaloniki.
Welcome, glad to have you here.
You visited Thrace over the past few days, and to start with our discussion today, I would like to know what's your opinion about that area?
Yes, I did. I had the great fortune, actually, to visit Xanthi and then Komotini, my first official visits to both cities, and then to end my three-day travel in Alexandroupoli on the weekend. My first impressions were amazing. The weather on Thursday was beautiful, and as we're driving into Xanthi and I see the old town, it just filled me with this sense of history and vitality, and it was wonderful. And then moving on to Komotini and seeing the tremendous numbers of students out on the streets, the liveliness that's there, was wonderful. Several things that impressed me as I visited Thrace, as I visited Xanthi and Komotini and Alexandroupoli. First among them was the leadership and the power and the strength demonstrated by women leaders throughout. Second, throughout all of these cities. Second was the innovation and the drive and the desire to represent communities that are traditionally underserved. So this is why I met with Sabecha of the Roma community, why I met with Ermina of the Poma community. And I would add, I had a wonderful meeting with an NGO Perpeto in Komotini, who have done amazing things in changing a wider mindset of what it means to be disabled in Greece. Komotini, as they described to me, and as I started walking around, I saw for myself, is really an example of how do you make a city in Greece, an ancient city in Greece, more accessible for various communities. And the drive, the commitment, and the general just good-natured openness of all of these people who are defending, pushing forward various rights and values is inspiring.
Is the United States of America having some more evident interest in the area as regards energy too?
Yes, that is a fair statement to say. In general, the interest of the United States is on Greece right now. This is a very important time for Greece in international relations, in my opinion. As you've seen from starting with the Thessaloniki International Fair, which is also the beginning of my tenure here in Thessaloniki, through the strategic dialogue in December, now the Precipice deal, all of these events have served to really focus attention not only in Washington, but also in Brussels, also in the private sector, on Greece, and specifically on northern Greece, and the potential that exists here. And as you said, energy is a big part of that.
And what about the Balkans and Eastern Europe? What's the role, what do you think is the role of Thrace in the wider geographical area?
Well, I'll tell you, when I visited Alexandroupoli on Saturday to open up a program with young girls called Code Girls, that event was held at the ethnological, excuse my mistake there, Museum of Thrace. Mm-hmm. And what amazed me about that museum, not only the contrast between history and youth in the future, which was wonderful, but what amazed me about that museum was the fact that it was focused not on one specific area encompassed by modern borders, but of the entire region, all of the peoples that have existed through history in this particular region, which is a crossroads, and how they all exist together, how they not only coexist, but actually interact and support each other. And that message resonated throughout the three-day travel, not only in Alexandroupoli, but also in my meetings with the muftis in Xanthi and Komotini, with my visits to the metropolitans, the bishops of the area in all three cities. The idea, the message of not only just peaceful coexistence, but mutual support and respect was something that was quite refreshing, quite amazing. And I think that's the importance, that idea, that paradigm is the importance that Thrace can play for the wider region.
Thrace, as well as Macedonia, you said are the crossroads in the wider area, and would that be really the time for this area to attract investments in the sector of energy, or maybe any other sectors that would be of interest?
Well, it was very timely, I found, that I traveled to Komotini just mere days after the Greek government gave the go-ahead for the construction of the interconnector Greece-Bulgaria, the IGB. That is a very important piece of the energy puzzle here in Europe. How do we take advantage of the largest, the largest infrastructure project right now, I believe, going on in Europe, the Trans-Adriatic pipeline, that is nearly complete, in order to pursue what is a US interest, but is, we believe, a wider European interest as well, the diversification of energy sources, routes, and so forth. And so that opportunity now, the timeliness of that opportunity, combined with the timeliness of the increased attention that is paid to Greece, all of these pieces are coming together. And now comes the hard part. Now comes the part, the hard work, not only on the outside potential investors, not only on Greece's friends in Washington or Greece's friends in Brussels, but Greece itself, to take on the hard part of identifying together with its partners the areas of improvement that need to be made in the business climate, and working together to rectify those issues and attract the investment that Greece is looking for.
What is your opinion about the Prespes agreement? Do you think that would play a key role for possible investments in the area?
Absolutely. As you've heard, not only myself and the ambassador, but even from Washington and further afield, the European External Action Service, this agreement and the vision, the patience, the compromise that is embodied in it has demonstrated the leadership that Greece can play, not only in this region but in Europe as a whole. For us, it shows the potential of Greece moving beyond the crisis that has so decimated not only the economy but to a certain extent the psychology of, can Greece be a leader, and showing, yeah, definitely, and it already is. And so that helps move not only public opinion, but also privately within the US government, privately within our partners' decision-making processes, a decision to trust Greece, to believe in Greece, and to continue to work together with Greece moving forward.
Would you believe the Prespes agreement would form a guarantee for peace in the area too?
It's hard to talk about any guarantees, and being a diplomat, I tend to avoid questions that involve hypotheticals or guarantees. But I would say that this is the basis of peace and stability. This is why why the U.S. government supported the Prespes agreement and supported Athens and Skopje deciding to come together between themselves and make this agreement, because we believe that in the end, when people freely decide with whom they wish to associate, where they wish to pursue their dreams and their security, and that is with NATO and with the European Union, for both Greece and now the Republic of North Macedonia, to have that ability to pursue that potential absolutely increases the stability of the wider region.
Stability and peace in the area would travel along with the financial situation in the area and some investments.
Absolutely correct, yes. When there is peace and stability, and this is what investors look for, right? If you're an investor and you have money to put into something, you want to make sure that you can understand, you can project to a reasonable degree what that return on investment will be. And you'll need some degree of stability in order to project that. And so stability in the defense or security aspects of the region will most definitely, in my humble opinion, improve the investment climate here. Like I said, the hard work remains ahead to work together, and hopefully that's what we'll continue to do, to improve the business climate, to improve the underlying conditions that will really bring in that investment. Now that everybody's focused, let's work together and finalize it.
There have been some steps made on the military cooperation of Greece and the US. Would there be any interest for a more intense cooperation between the two countries in northern Greece?
Do you want to be more specific about what you mean by intense cooperation? We have quite intense cooperation right now in the consular district when we talk about Larissa, the Volos, Alexandroupolis, Thessaloniki right now.
Exactly. Alexandroupolis would be of interest for further military cooperation between the two countries, between the US and Greece.
What we value so deeply up here in northern Greece is the ability to use the port in Alexandroupolis, to use the port as we are currently in Thessaloniki for some of these rotations that occur. This rotating basis demonstrates the capacity of the Greek government and the Greek state to really meet its potential and fulfill its obligations as a NATO ally. If you're alluding to some of the questions about will there or will there not be a base in Alexandroupolis, I can assure you there is one Suda Bay and there is only one Suda Bay. That is where the U.S. interest is focused in terms of basing, but in terms of this rotating presence, most definitely there is a focus here in northern Greece on the opportunities presented.
The United States of America invests a lot in education, and there are programs for Thrace, like for example the Code Girls and the Benjamin Franklin Transatlantic Fellow Summer Institute that focus on that.
Well, these programs, while they are currently ongoing in Thrace, are meant for Greece as a whole. And the fundamental basis for all of our educational exchanges, all of our educational programs, is the fact that our people-to-people ties between the United States and Greece are the foundation for all the other ties that we talk about. The fact that we as two peoples are aligned so closely in our values, in our beliefs, in our goals and our objectives, that understanding and exchange between peoples will only serve to strengthen all of the other geostrategic or military or economic or all of the other aspects of our relationship. As what we refer to in the State Department as a public diplomacy officer, it's very near and dear to my heart to continue to encourage these exchanges and encourage this mutual understanding that arises from them.
And it could be also that education can be a way to abolish nationalism powers in the wider area.
Well, certainly. It's educational exchanges. When you bring people together and you bridge gaps, you create contact, you start to dispel myths and misunderstandings. And that is a tremendous end in and of itself. It is most definitely of tremendous interest to the United States to continue to invest and to continue to seek areas to further that investment in education, not only in Thrace, but throughout Greece. But speaking specifically about my recent visit to Thrace, I remember vividly not only the vitality and the vibrancy of the student cities that are Komotini and Xanthi, but also the multicultural aspects of both cities. And so the various communities that these educational exchanges can help bridge to the ideas and the values that we share as Americans with them is a potential that I would like to see realized.
Mr. Consul General, if you were asked to name one development priority in the region of the United States of America in the region, where would that be?
That's tough to say, and it's also not necessarily for the United States to decide. This is Greece, after all. But I would say from where I sit, where focus should be, or where focus rightly is, I should say, is where you've already identified. So while there is tremendous strength in the tourism sector, while there's tremendous strength up here in the north of Greece in agro-food and agriculture and so forth, the potential that currently exists on a larger plane for energy and for energy cooperation and energy diversification is tremendous. Now that requires a lot of work, but I think together we can do great things.